right, hello everyone. You're listening to Unidos Unplugged, the podcast where community culture and wellness take the spotlight. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. And today's a really special episode because it's all about the people behind the mic. So you're going to get to meet the team, what we do here, and what the whole purpose of Unidos Unplugged is. And I will start off with myself. I am your host, David Villarreal, and I am the outreach specialist for UCD. And I'll go ahead and pass it off over to Moses.
Hello everyone, my name is Moises Tarjona. I am the Collective Impact Director for Unidos Contra La Diabetes of the Rio Grande Valley, and I go by Moses.
Awesome. Susie.
Hi, it's Susie Arismendi, Project Manager for UCD.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarai Lozano and I am the Data Analyst for UCD. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Claire.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Clarissa Garza. I'm the facilitator here at UCD, and I go by Claire.
All right, great. And Moses, you want to kind of let the listeners know what Unidos Unplugged is, what the purpose of the podcast is, and just kind of like going forward, what to expect from us.
Sure. So again, Unidos Contra La Diabetes, or UCD for short, our whole goal and mission is to reduce type 2 diabetes by 10% by 2030. And we do that by bringing awareness and working with prevention efforts to reduce those new rates of diabetes. But our whole point of doing a podcast is we do the newsletters, we do different things, but podcast is like the in thing right now for everybody to do. And people like to listen to things when they're going either to work, from work, or to the gym or somewhere else, right? It's a way of communicating and understanding what's really going on. For us at UCD, although we have over 60 partners, not all of them are dedicated to health and wellness as far as diabetes prevention. So we want to highlight everyone's what they're doing in their community, what they're doing in their organizations to just bring either mental health awareness,
Right.
general health awareness, just general information about what it is that they do and how they do it.
Awesome.
Again, just the whole deal again is, we have a lot of initiatives. It's not just about the diabetes, right? We have the Live is Enough campaign, reducing sugary beverages, reducing sugary treats. So every organization, whether it's a health related or not, can participate in our podcast.
Awesome. Thank you. So before we move on, do you want to just give a quick, brief intro as to your role here within UCD?
So I am the Collective Impact Director. I oversee the backbone, and I also work closely with our steering committee members. And then, of course, part of the whole goal is to make sure that we're meeting our goals and our vision and mission for the Rio Grande Valley.
Awesome. Susie, you want to give us a little bit of an intro as to what you do, your role here?
Hi, everyone. As I mentioned earlier, the Project Manager for UCD. One of the important parts of Backbone is to have continuous communication and resource alignment. So I support the work groups in those efforts. If it looks like social media, or if it could be creating a resource, maybe event planning, major event planning. We focus on the Diabetes Alert Day, also on the annual conference or symposium. So those are just different components of my job or my efforts here at UCD, and very happy to be here.
Awesome. Busy schedule Susie has. Sarai, do you want to give us a quick, brief intro as to what it is you do here?
Of course, so again, I'm the Data Analyst for UCD. I've been here for about almost 3 years now. And basically what I do is I manage RGB Health Connect, which is a platform online that just has all sorts of health indicators. So it's free to public access, so anyone can go in there, and of course I manage that along with Conduit. I also provide technical assistance to our partners, so if anybody needs data, if they need more information in regards to a program that we have, I can assist with that as well. But more than that, I also just analyze the data that comes in from partners. So if a partner has a DPP program, a DSME program, or just, is a clinic that collects data, I can come in and analyze data for them and see where their diabetes trends are, or for any health indicator for that matter.
Awesome. Claire, you want to give us a bit of insight?
Absolutely. So as facilitator, I facilitate the work groups that we have. We meet monthly. So we have 4 work groups right now. We have policy and advocacy, data, pre-diabetes education, and screening. And not only do I facilitate their work group meetings, but I also ensure that their goals are being met, anything that they're meeting about, and getting that done. So it's really nice to also have this podcast and give them the platform to be able to talk about what they're doing within their respective organizations, their what they're doing within that. So very excited.
Awesome. I'll give a little bit of brief background as to what I do. I am the outreach specialist, and I am basically boots on ground. So I am the one predominantly attending the health fairs, back to school events, anything like that going on. I also oversee the ambassadors, and they are also the ones that help us to. I am one, and with their help, we're able to cover a lot more ground as far as the RGV. So that is a bit of what I do here at UCD. And yeah, we can move on. And I actually wanted to touch on how or why Unidos Unplugged. So how like the name came about, why we decided to go with the name, just a little bit of background on that. If you want to start,
That's a good
Moses. Yeah.
So the deal is, because we are a backbone and we are 5 in our staff, we collaborate on many different levels, and one of the levels was collaborating on the name of the podcast. For sure, I thought we had agreed on UCD Unplugged, but apparently it wasn't. But good thing is that we go back to our agendas and look at the notes, and that was it. But the main deal was, and I have to, give shout out to Rio Grande City. They went ahead and invited us to go talk about a podcast. I saw their setup, and I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. We can do this. We have all the faculties to do that. And, so I asked them to share information about the equipment, where they got it. They were so gracious, and they shared all the information with us, and next thing you know, here we are.
Right. So I don't know about you guys, but once we were kind of debating on names. Once the Unidos Unplugged kind of came out, I was immediately like, "That's it."
Yeah, locked in.
I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I liked
but
it
I loved
too.
it. Any insight on that, Sarai or Susie?
No, yeah, I agree with Moses. I think we had decided on Unidos Unplugged, and then somehow we kind of got lost in translation there. But
Right.
good thing we do have receipts, as we like to joke around in the office. But no, we decided on Unidos.
Right. Awesome. So I really liked the unplugged version just because I would say it really gives good insight as to what the whole purpose of the podcast is. We have meetings all the time, we have events all the time, but this is really a space where we can come and just chat, talk about whatever's going on, whether it's in our work lives, our personal lives, and stuff like that. So that's where the unplugged comes from, and that's the part I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and I mean the whole deal is to keep it real. We live live in a time where everything gets disconstructed in certain ways, and we look at things certain ways too. But this is a space where we can be free. It's a safe space, and we can just chat and go from there. But as Sarai alluded to, I do have a forgetful mind.
I really like the Unidos part of the podcast name because it really does kind of show what collective impact is. We are together, not just within our own group, right, or our as backbone, but all of our partners and everyone that we collaborate with. Like, we're all united in this and trying to, help out our community. So I think the name is very fitting.
Yeah. And I think you went back to the most important part. We're all in this for our community.
Right. Awesome. On that note, is there anything in particular that you guys want to touch on today? Any particular topics or things that have been on your mind that you guys just want to chat about?
Susie's been real quiet. Susie,
Right.
I'm sure.
Give us some wellness wisdom,
Yeah,
Susie.
give us some of your thoughts.
Susie's got a lot on her plate. You want to kind of get into some of that a little bit, Susie?
No, actually, what I was going to say was I think that Moses should talk about how he came about with UCD. I think he has a unique story, and really love to talk
okay.
about that.
Really
Oh,
taking
I
it
can't-
back.
Well, I don't know that this is the avenue for that. At this point, I don't think it's something I want to touch base on.
Completely fine.
Okay, we will leave that for another podcast. So
We'll leave
stay
that for
tuned.
another. We'll leave that for another
Susie
podcast.
said drop the T.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're progressing here and we're being innovative. And after 10 years of collective impact, I think it's nice to rewind a little bit and see, where we came and how we all came about to join UCD.
Yeah. So talk.
We'll do the cliff notes.
Yeah, we'll do it. So again, I think there's a history about UCD, about where it was going, what it was doing, what was happening. The funders felt, and some of the partners felt, it wasn't moving the way in the direction it should have. An outside consultant was contracted to come in and look at the backbone, look at the initiative, recommendations were made, and those recommendations were implemented. And a lot of changes happened, and of course it all happened right before COVID, and then COVID hit and stuff. So there's just the work that was happening. It wasn't that it wasn't happening, it just wasn't growing and being aligned with the vision of the funders and collective impact. I think what we are doing now is more in line of what collective impact is. We work with our partners, we listen to our partners. Our partners are very vocal. We understand that, and we want to make sure that they're being heard and that they're being listened to, and that we come back and do something with that. But going back and reading, and because a lot of the times, one of the things that a lot of us sometimes think is that we're failures or the initiative is a failure. But after doing a lot of research and going back and looking, what actually happened with the reconstruction and of UCD was right in line with what normally happens with collective impact. There has to be a time period where it has to break down to be rebuilt, and that's exactly what happened.
Awesome. So that's a good Cliff Notes version of it. Not to get too deep into it, but that was great. Thank you for that, Susie.
That was a politically incorrect.
No, but it's funny you say that, because that was something that was talked about when we did the Collective Impact Summit this past time. They talked about the breakdown throughout the organization's lifetime or whatever. There's a breakdown, and then it grows and it gets better, and so I think that it's only fitting, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the main thing that I have to continue to harbor on is that there's some components that we have to, the 5 tenets of collective impact, right? But for us, it's constant communication. And with communication comes listening. And when the partners are not happy, it's part of our culture too, and sometimes they don't tell you, but when they do tell you, you better listen.
Right. So moving forward, is there anything just that you guys, not to prolong this episode too long, it's just an introductory episode as to who we are and what we do here and what our goal for the podcast is, but if there's anything on y'all's mind that something interesting that happened to you this week, or it's happened to you this week, or just anything that you've come across, health and wellness related, or just fun related.
I was just going to say, because we're talking about collective impact, right? Like, when I first applied for this position a year ago, I was looking at the website and I was looking at collective impact, and I'd never heard of the term. I didn't know what it was, so it was completely foreign to me. But it was very intriguing, right? And so I was like looking it up, and then I was like, is there any other organizations like this? And so I tried to do my research, and still didn't find a lot. There's not a lot of that here in the Valley, and so it wasn't kind of an eye opener. And I remember coming into the interview, and I was like, I kind of still feel like I don't really know what this is. What does the backbone do? What is their what is their relationship with their partners? And so I've learned so much, and it's truly incredible what a collective does, and how much it really helps out our community. And so I just kind of wanted to give back, because I feel like we say collective impact, and not everyone knows what that is. But it's not just the 5 of us. It's the 5 of us times all of our partners and everyone that we work with. And so I think that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
I just wanted to add that a lot of times, going back to what Moses was saying too, that a lot of times organizations, when they hear about Unidos Contra La Diabetes or a collective impact when it comes to health, they just think about joining if they do something health related, if they're a clinic, if they're a hospital and stuff like that. But as we know, we have many initiatives here at UCD, for example, the Life is Sweet Enough, that we encourage everyone in our community to join. It can be a church, it can be a school, it can be a workplace that has absolutely nothing to do with health, but we tie in those businesses with our collective impact to ultimately improve the life of, or the health of, our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we have to really highlight is Sade hit it right on the dot. A lot of people don't want to join our collective or be part of our partner because, I don't work in the diabetes space. I work in electricity, and we do power lines or something. Well, none of your employees are diabetic? Oh no, the majority of employees are diabetic. Well, that's the reason for you to be a partner with us, because we have great resources, we have great initiatives, like again, the Life is Sweet Enough campaign, but we also want to go ahead and support any campaigns that they have in their organization, because sometimes the biggest thing is how do we encourage and incentivize participation in activities? Well, UCD can help you with that. And there's never, I haven't said this in a long time, but there's no harm in asking. And what's the worst thing someone can tell you is no.
Mm-hmm.
And we hardly ever tell anyone no.
We do not.
We hardly ever tell anyone no. If it's a great idea, they're going to be sharing data, we can go do a presentation, we will make it work. We will make it work. We have that capability to do that. So again.
Right. And we do stress that a lot. Like, you know, if you don't ask, you do not receive.
Yeah.
So something, since we are Unidos Contra La Diabetes, and we try as much as we can as a staff to also focus on our health and well-being, is there anything that you guys have been doing recently that you guys would like to, like a helpful tip, a wellness tip, a health tip that you guys have been doing? I know Moses has been raving about his experience and journey with Metamucil.
Raving.
It's,
This is not an ad. This is not an ad for Metamucil.
This is not an ad for Metamucil. This is not a paid service for Metamucil. No, so, David, Claire, and I went last year to the American Diabetes Continuing Education Conference, and, you know, they had tons of vendors. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, you know, if you're diabetes education and diabetes prevention and you're pushing it, we went to a conference and they had nothing that was sugar-free. Everything was so full of sugar. Mm-hmm. The food was just disgustingly, just not good. They had besides water, there was no unflavored, unsweetened drinks. It was just very disappointing. They even had a whole booth about how the importance of sugar is, which I get it. Yeah. I'm not knocking sugar, but we met someone from the Metamucil group, and they had this model, and was like, well, what are you all pushing here, right? And one of the things that we found out was that if you drink some Metamucil before your meal, it helps regulate your blood sugar, mm-hmm. and it absorbs fat in the food that you're eating, and it doesn't let it get absorbed into your body. Well, I've been on this journey already. It's going to be a year, and guess what? I've lost 20 pounds.
Right.
Yeah,
I have lost 20 pounds.
Awesome.
My cholesterol went from 142 to 110. And that's a great thing too. And my blood sugar has been regulated. And as I've mentioned before, I'm pre-diabetic, so I always try to play and manage that and live with that. So there's a great, there is something good happening, and I encourage it. And I encourage people to take Metamucil as much as I can talk about it.
We do want to say that this is not health advice. Please consult your personal doctor.
Please consult your medical provider.
But if Metamucil wants to sponsor this podcast, please.
Yes, but you know what? Maybe we can do another podcast, what fiber does for your body and the benefits.
Yeah. Right. We can get a nutritionist to come in and talk about fiber. Right. But I really, again, I think you need to really look at what we put in our bodies, right? And as I ask people a lot of the times, is what type of sugar addict are you? And they look at me kind of weird, but do you drink your sugars or do you eat your sugars? And that's something that's important too.
Right. Awesome. Sarai, do you want to maybe touch on something that you've been... I can think of one, I just don't know if it's really health related.
You know what? Yes, I know exactly where you're going with that, and that is collagen. So recently I've been learning more about the benefits of collagen and what it does for your body. A lot of people think that collagen is just a beauty thing, right? Just for your face and to prevent wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. But no, it does more than that. It can benefit your hair, your nails, your joints, your muscles, right? And it also has some protein. Depending on what collagen you get, it has other things that it help you with. Mm-hmm. But interestingly, and now that we just ended the month of June for Men's Health Awareness Month. But one thing that I did notice is that when people hear about collagen, they associate it more with women and beauty, mm-hmm. Rather than just like an overall health thing. And like I said, I've been learning a lot about it. I started taking collagen. I'm very early on, so I can't say what, pinpoint benefits that it's helped me with. Mm-hmm. But I will say that I encourage men to look into it as well, because like I said, it helps with so much more than just beauty. So there's that.
Awesome. Susie, anything?
I think there's a lot of things going on that I guess one of the things I should focus on would be just to take a step back and observe your habits and think about how will this habit look like in a year.
Long term.
Right. It's important to know what's going in your body, and it can be something as simple as your morning coffee. And I've been more mindful about those things. just because it definitely has an impact on your health and how you're feeling. And I recently started wearing the Lingo again, and just trying to, the Lingo is the glucose monitor, the continuous glucose monitor that you wear on your arm, and just, seeing what the trends are, because everybody's body is different.
Right.
And it's important to recognize what is spiking your glucose. For some people, it could be that extra creamer in your coffee, or for some others, it could be the potatoes that you have in your lunch. But yeah, just take a step back, be more mindful, and try to observe what your habits are and how those habits can, what they can cause for your future.
And this is not a paid advertisement for Lingo or sponsored event for Lingo. So
We'll bleep them out until they sponsor us.
yeah.
So actually, before we go on to Claire, I had something just because kind of Susie sparked it as far as what goes into your body. So I'm usually pretty good about drinking water, especially here at the office. I usually have, before I leave the office, I'll have 2 liters. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when you hit 3-point-something liters, so basically 3.5 of the water bottles that we have here, you'll hit your gallon mark for the day, which is kind of what we should all strive to do. Or I think it's like a good mark to try to hit. But I just I've been finding it really hard to hit that third one. Like, I'll get home and I'll just like forget about it. And it's been really hard for me to hit that mark. And then maybe last week, Claire came in with these little water packets. And today, without her knowing, I stole one for my lunch, and I put it in my water bottle, and I chugged I drank almost the full 1 liter bottle in like one go. Again, speaking of what is going into your body, I don't know if that's the healthiest way to go about it, but it's definitely helped increase my water intake. So they're the little 5 calorie or sugar-free little water enhancers that Claire has that I stole from her. So.
But use a hydration calculator at UCD's website to find out what the actual water intake for your body, weight, and age should be.
That is a plug-in.
Yeah, so, and again, I don't know if it's something that I would say, as long as it doesn't outweigh my normal plain water intake, it should be fine. If that's kind of what helps me get to that 1 gallon mark, then I think a little water enhancer packet a day won't do much.
And there's so many ways we can go about that. It's summer, you can add fruit to your water to give it a little hint of taste,
Right. Yeah, so that's been helping me. I don't know if you got anything, Claire, that you kind of have been doing. It doesn't have to be, I guess maybe we've all had like diet-related things. It
Yeah,
can be,
I was going to say, I wish I could say I've been taking like all of these supplements and vitamins and I'm super healthy. No.
Right.
I have noticed, I've been trying to go to the gym a lot more, at least 4 times a week, or exercise, whether it's a walk or going to the gym. And I've noticed, because I was like consistent for at least a month, on the days I don't go, my attitude or my energy genuinely just feels different. And I hadn't noticed that, and I don't know if that comes with age or whatever, but I noticed it. Like I go to the gym in the morning or in the evening whenever I gotta go, and I feel better. Like the next day I'm in a better mood, I'm in higher spirits, I have so much more energy to get my work done. And when I don't go, I'm just kind of like so much more lethargic. I'm mad at myself, right? So I have noticed that, and I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. I feel like it's a good sign that I'm seeing these differences in myself and in my mood. But another thing that I was like, just happened this past weekend. I went to a 5K on Saturday, and I was invited to, I was invited to run the 5K or walk it or whatever. And I didn't, because I was like, I'm not gonna walk the 5K. Like, I can't run it or whatever. And I went anyway to support my friend, and it was just so nice to see like all walks of life do it, and whether you're walking it, whether it took you an hour or 20 minutes, like it was really inspiring to see that, and it really actually pushed me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sign up for the next one, even if it takes me the hour to finish it, the 3 miles. Like it's just putting yourself out there and doing it and taking it step by step, right? And you don't have to finish the 3 miles under 30 minutes and be get some type of award or something. Like just doing it and just finishing it is an accomplishment within itself. So that was kind of an eye-opener on Saturday. So I'm excited for the next one. So if y'all know of any, please message us and let us know which 5K is coming up, and I'd like to sign up.
That's awesome. So maybe just kind of like as a closing remark on this, or like don't like just because you're not where everyone else is.
Oh
or,
yeah, no, just
don't let that be a
true.
retractor from you starting
Absolutely, yeah.
your journey.
Which
Thank you
is
for
what we tell
summarizing
everybody
that,
else.
yeah.
It's something we tell people all the time. Don't And I think that's the biggest determinant of people trying to get into exercise mode. You know, they go to the gym and they spend an hour lifting weights and all this stuff. And I had this conversation the other day with someone, and they're like, yeah, I didn't go the next day because I was so sore. I go, but why did you have to feel the need to outdo yourself?
Yeah.
Right.
I go, you didn't get unhealthy overnight, so it's gonna take a while to build that resistance.
I feel like that stems a lot from just our culture. We're very impatient, or not. It doesn't even have to do with our culture. Just how society is now. We just want everything.
Plus, you can't compare yourself to the people that are there lifting weights and running the stuff. I mean, if you play that game, the compare game, you're not gonna.
And they had a day one too, right? Like it's been that was their journey. They've probably been doing it for X amount of years. Like don't give yourself a grace. So.
Hey, well, just to throw that out there also is it doesn't have to be the gym either.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be the park. It could be around your neighborhood. It could be just going for a walk. Dancing or playing with your kids outside, washing your car. There's many different types of movement, and it's just really about getting out there and just trying to move a little bit more than the day before. You're going against yourself here.
Yeah,
and you just want to be a better version of yourself each day.
Yeah, those are great points. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've advocated a long time before. You don't have to go to a gym to get healthy. And actually, well, no, I'm not going to say anything because...
No, say it.
I think sometimes the gyms are the worst, most disgusting places ever because they're full of germs. Everybody's sweaty. No one's cleaning up the machines. And then you're wiping and stuff. And
yeah, that's where you get germs.
But also the gym can be pretty intimidating for a beginner.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
I feel like Susie hit it on the head. Like, find what's good for you, right? What works for you, and it's just about moving and trying to be active and giving yourself that grace to do so as well.
Yeah, and patience is key. I think Moses touched on this. You didn't gain weight overnight.
You didn't.
Or you didn't become unhealthy overnight. So don't expect to become healthy.
Right, and let's also change that stereotype. Just because you seem to be a little bit heavy set doesn't mean you're unhealthy. You could have somebody who's pretty, you might think, oh my God, they're so unhealthy, and they're the healthiest person in the room. And then you see somebody who's thin, and they're like sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other interesting topics that you guys wanna touch on, or just stuff that's been going on that you guys might wanna touch on before we? I do have a question before we close out that I want to ask everybody, and if you guys don't have anything else. No, we can kind of get into that.
Yeah, I think for me, is one of the things that I think we all need to just realize is that at UCD, the backbone does a lot more than just facilitate meetings and create resources. If you really want to know what we really do, all the stuff that we do, come by and check us out. Meet with us. Be part of our work groups. Be part of what it is that we do. We continuously get, this is just a shout out for us, and they say, how do you all do it to be all over the valley? Well, because we have great partners, we have great ambassadors, and they make us seem like we're a fully staffed 100% organization, when it really is 5 people with over 60 partners and over X amount of ambassadors doing amazing work advocating for our health, and not just diabetes but general health.
And an amazing leader.
Oh,
Wrong one. That also get cut out. On that note,
it's like zombie apocalypse. Like, get out.
We can begin closing out this short introductory to our Unidos Unplugged podcast, and I really want to end on this note, and I want to ask everybody in here, and not everybody at once. We can start with Moses and just go around the room. So the closing question, I want it to be, what does success look like to you? Not in maybe your professional setting, just in general, life in general. What does success look like for you?
I forgot what I said it the last time, because I did say something last time and I forgot what it was. But I think it's going to change every day, and I think for me, just in general, if I could have made an impact in just one person's life, that was a success for me.
Awesome, Susie.
Hold on, let me see what ChatGPT tells me.
It has to come from the heart.
No, I think it does. It does go in line with what Moses says. It's just about impact and feeling that joy that you are making a difference. And every day that can look different. So, yeah, that's what I believe success is.
All right, Sarai.
I'm still thinking about it. Let's skip on to Claire.
Claire?
Success. I feel like as like professional success is I'm gonna go piggyback off of.
It doesn't have to be professional.
No, I'm gonna give you two.
Okay,
Just
okay, awesome.
Give me a second here. I'm just cutting in, man. Just kidding. But professional, it's definitely the impact we make, and in you know any career I'm in is just seeing that and how I can, if it's just one person or one organization that we help out, it really does make the difference, and that's what success looks like. But personally, I think it's just like my level of happiness, like me being happy and with where I'm at in my life, and if I'm happy, then I think I'm successful. So that's what that looks like for me. Yeah.
Awesome. We can circle back to Sarai maybe.
Yeah, I would say that if I could sum it up into, I guess, like a phrase, it would be just, it just goes down to the quality of the impact that you're making. So whether it's just a small bunch of people that, you know, you really impacted their lives, I think that can have, what is it called? Like an expanding effect.
Like a ripple effect.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. A ripple effect on the rest of the community. So even if it's just a small group of people that you can genuinely change their lives and impact their lives, I think that's what success is. And that can apply both professionally and, you know, in your personal life.
Awesome. I guess, yeah, piggybacking off of that, in the personal setting, I am a father now of 2 beautiful girls. And thank you. So yeah, but I think for me, I would have to be it would have to be presence. Like if I can say that I was a good presence in their life, basically being there for them. Obviously, also for my wife. I'm married, but just being that presence of being available, being there for them for whatever they might need, as well as in a professional setting as well. I feel like that is what success truly means to me. Anything else?
That's a good one. Yes, that was a
Thanks.
good question. That was deep.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Hit us with a curveball there.
Anything else before we close out, guys? Anything else that we have coming up that we might want to highlight or anything like that before I close it up?
No, our next recording session for our
Yes.
partners is July 19th, I think.
I believe so. But please follow us on our social media, on our newsletter to get all of the upcoming events, highlights that we're doing. Please do so.
And if anybody's interested in joining us in for a fun podcast, please
Yes.
don't hesitate to contact us.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. On that note, thank you for unplugging with us today. And we hope this conversation sparked something real for you. And until next time, this was Unidos Unplugged.